going to talk you about my TED Talk that is about mid-global corruption hidden players. In this TED Talk, a girl was talking, which name is Germaine Gotch. Is an anti-corruption campaigner who in 2004 was named in Bloomberg Market's 15 most influential list. When we imagine corruption, it tends to be a minister or a despot of a small overseas nation, living in fabulous luxury. Charmaine lists a few perfect examples of these behaviors. However, these people cannot operate without support from the rest of the world. These mansions and art cliches are arranged through global banks and despot in oil-rich nations most do deals with a large of oil companies, and many corrupt leaders make their profits through anonymous shell companies, which they secretly own, and they are commonly used around the world, avoiding paying taxes, but can also be used steal massive amounts of money from poor countries. A recent example involved Democratic Republic of Congo selling of state-owned mining assets to a shell company, which quickly unsold them from massive profits. The people of Congo lost 1.3 billion of dollars with these deals, more than twice education and health budgets combined. Charmaine investigated that deal, but many of these details are locked away from shell companies, and their view that corruption just happens and it is impossible to change. But oil companies are now covered by transparency start standing because groups demanded it, and corruption is a global business that needs solutions right here. And there are a lot of examples through this talk, and I struggle to find take away message from it. The main point was that corruption is everywhere, involving companies that have household name, and they are part of the corruption instigate by international despots. And people are very selfish or lazy to care about local politics, and they propose to oppose views that people do care, but there are barriers put in their ways to prevent action, and these barriers are the city hall. The city hall is community engagement. For a project, may be placing an ad in the local paper, but the ad is tiny fonts with the details and what is proposed, how to be object, and hiding with a page full of pointless text. If people were supposed to be involved, they the ad will have just a picture large font text. It will be the proposal. Another barrier is the public, the public spaces. Public advertising goes only in the highest bidder, but some important messages are unprofitable to say. The media. The media suddenly discourages engagement. When they review a restaurant, they often include a short paragraph describing place uh, and the address. The heroism, heroism move teach us that heroes are chosen by prof- prophecy. Another barrier is the political parties. They should be an entry point to get involved in politics, but also driving they just tell us what they want to hear. This feeds cynicism and show they cannot be trusted by the bold leaders. Another barrier is the electronics. The electronics system create random results with the winner someone who most people don't vote for. So my thoughts about this is that good list of barriers, but I'm disappointed. So I'm disappointed. So few, so for few solutions. His solution is to identify them, dismantle each one, but that process is blocked by the same barriers he identified and the political process itself. And major political parties benefit from the electronic system, and people will great attempt to change it with cynicism. Other best vested interest will also fight against any change, specifically if none can propose something fairer. Give Canada have a first pass the 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 post system with three significant parties, so a preferential system will probably work better, but plenty of people will fight to prevent that. Common engagement has been reduced to print ads to make things easier for people in implementing projects, and while the ads are some barrier in the process, will they really take on the common suggestions anyway? But that is what we are going to expect. And other part, there was Ken Jennings that was talking about the geometry and the absolute the knowing of all. That talks about Kenny Jennings love games, shows for a young age, and feel extremely satisfaction when he beat his parents in trivial pursuit. Knowledge is power. In 2004, he appeared on Geometry for the first time, but in 2009 he got a call from producers asking him to play against ABM's Geometry machine, Watson, because of his love of the game. He agreed, but also become he knew about all the time and thought that he could win. It is extremely difficult for computers to understand language and the natural communication. So Ken was confident. At the time he came close, he saw a graph of Watson's performance against the Geometry players. Skill levels slow creeping towards his own. He knew that A1 was coming for him, not the Gunsight and Terminator, but in the line of data slowly creeping upwards. as computers take over things' job, do humans still need to learn anything or knowing anything? Nem believes having this knowledge in your head is still important of volume, because of volume and time. Volume because the amount of information is doubled every 18 months, and we need to make good judgments. And these facts, we need to fact that health is a symbol of for decisions. It is harder to judge these facts while looking them up. And this is my TED Talk. Thank you for watching.